back to class. Now, what happened in the previous section was that sorry. So what happened in the previous section was we were trying to record or track our bill that has nothing to do with inventory. Now, I was trying to use journal to do that, which I showed you, and you saw the complexities in that and the confusion that has caused us. Now, yes, you can use journal to record some transaction, but that will be like that will be kind of frustrating if you actually don't know accounting, the principles of double entering that much. Now, what am I trying to say? Instead of actually increasing this account earlier on, what we were doing was that we were reducing. So since we have used our normal enter bill options to record this mechanical transaction that we have here, now let's look at how it was actually recorded in QuickBooks, right? The journal entry. So you can just right click on it. I think we should have the journal transaction where I need to see. Supposed to give me the journal transaction. Anyway, I'm not seeing that option here. Right, so let me right click again. Now, okay, what about this? What about this? Right, so I don't know why it's not showing me the journal entry. Right, but let's see. Let me just open it up again. Right. So I'll right click and say edit bill, right? And what oh my god, when you're looking for the thing you will not see it again, right? So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that instead of increasing the value, right, when we were using the journal, we were actually reducing it. Now, what does that, what do I have to, why am I actually trying to make sure I emphasize on this? All right, because sometimes with your knowledge of accounting, yeah, you may face difficulty in transactions like this, and you want to record them in some transaction. So you must first of all identify the accounts that are involved and the effect they will have on each of these accounts before you can go ahead and record it. Remember that QuickBooks cannot just automatically correct you because it's a garbage in, garbage out, right? So when you enter the right thing, it is going to give you the right result, but when you enter the wrong thing, it's still going to give you a wrong result. So that's why it's important that you understand this basis before you actually use journal. In that case, what is the essence of again using journal when you have all these options here that you can just use? So to record bill that has nothing to do with your inventory items, you can just go ahead and enter it from here, right? Just as I did, right? How do I do that? You just click here, right? When you click here, you select the name of the vendor. Of course, when you're entering bill for the first time, you have to select the name of the vendor you are trying to track the bill for on, right? You have to enter the name of the vendor. That will actually shows that you know what you're doing, and QuickBooks will identify. In fact, QuickBooks will not even allow you to enter a bill without the name of the vendor. It is not possible. So it will always ask you to enter the name of the vendor, which you will always find right here, right in this vendors list right here, right? So that is it. Now in this section, what we are going to do next is we're going to now see how to treat immediate cash transaction, right? Immediate cash expense. When you want to record immediate cash expense, we are going to see how to do that. Now if you look at the whole of this place, you may not see the option to do that. You will not see where they say cash expense or whatever, anything relating to expense, but you actually know that everything that is under the vendors here is expense, right? But because it has to do with cash, movement of money out, now we don't have it under any category, either in the vendor or in the customer here. We don't have, though we have not talked about the customer section yet, but we're still going to come to that very soon. Now if you look at by your right here under the banking, now we have what is called write check, right? Write check. Now you can see by definition, people say write check for expenses that you have not entered as a bill in QuickBooks, or to record a cash transaction. That's, you want to record an immediate cash transaction, or not actually immediate, but cash transaction. So you want to record it, and you can just go ahead and use the write check. So another place you can find this write check is under your banking section here. You can see it here. The shortcut is Ctrl W. You can see it by the right, just beside the write check. So you can just click on it. Once you click on it, the same way you used to see the bill, the same way you will see it, but instead of now seeing bill or whatever name that you are seeing, bill or receive item, you are seeing what? You are seeing write check. This is now showing that, okay, the account that is actually currently selected is our bank account, which is this. Now that's the account that we are making the payment from. Now if you look at by the left or by the right of this account, you will see the ending balance. That's the balance in that account. Remember that this bank account is our overall bank account that tracks all the 3 banks we have already registered in QuickBooks. So we have it here. So I can go ahead and select any of this account. So to make payment from any of this account, I can go ahead and select, say I'm going with Access Bank, right? I'm going with Access Bank. I select Access Bank. I can see the balance that is in Access Bank. If I'm going with UB, I can go with UB. I'll see the balance that is there. If I'm going with Zenith, I will see the balance that is in Zenith Bank as well. So that is just a simple way of recording cash transaction. Another thing to note in recording cash transaction is that you don't actually need the name of the vendor. It is not compulsory. It is not mandatory. You don't actually need it. So you can just make the expense. You can just record the transaction. It can either be an expense, immediate expense, that's an indirect expense or admin expense, right? Or it can be a purchase of inventory items for your store or for your business and some of that. So that being said, we are going to look at how to record immediate cash transaction. Let's take, for instance, you send a staff to go and get something or for an errand, and when the staff is going, of course you're going to give the staff a transport. So let's record transport. So how do we get here first? Let's go back how we got here. Now to get to where to write check, you can see it from your dashboard here, just directly under your bank, right? Write check is used to record immediate cash expenses, right? So if you are using QuickBooks Online, right, you will see it expense. It is clearly written expense. So you use it to record all your cash expense, right? But here we have it as write check. So I'll click on write check, then I'll have this option. I like minimizing this so that I will see because of the teaching, because I am teaching, so that you'll be seeing what I am talking about. You can see the write check, and you can see the account that is selected is Zenith, and that is the account, the bank account that is selected here. That's the first thing you're going to see. Select the account you're making the payment from. So when you do that, when you select the account, now you can come pay in order of. You can come to this pay in order of if you want. It is not mandatory. You can pay in order of anybody here. You can pay in order of anybody. You can pay in order of your customer. You can pay in order of your vendor. You can pay in order of your employee, depending on whoever you are making the payment. So let's say we are paying Okechukwu Emmanuel, who is Emmanuel Okeke, who is our employee, right? So let's say we are paying him. So this is a warning message from QuickBooks. Once you select, say if you are writing a paycheck for an employee, we recommend that you turn on the payroll to calculate that paycheck correctly, but that is not what we are doing. Not now. I'll just go ahead and say not now. So because it has recognized that this person, we have entered this person initially. Remember when we are setting up this company, we entered this person initially as our employee. So that is why it's giving us that message, because it should be treated as employee. But that is not what we are trying to do. So what we are doing here right now is we are trying to record a cash expense for transportation we gave to the person, our employee. So let's say travel expenses, right? Travel expenses. So I will go ahead and select the account under the account here, right? I'll go ahead and select the account under the account. Of course, you know your date is important. Your date is always important, right? It's always important. So you have to select your date. You have to set the right date. Now, when you come here, you select the account you're posting the transaction. Because I am talking about transportation, I can as well post it here, or I can as well rename this travel expense to transportation cost or transportation expense, right? So I'll just select this, and transportation, let's say is 5,000, like, right? So let's say it's 5,000. Let's say transport to and fro to state house. I'm just fabricating anything that comes to my mind. So that is it. When you do that, you see that you don't need to select any other account, because you have already done the first thing here. This is the account that will be credited, and this is the account that will be debited. So all you need to do is select which account you're posting it, and QuickBooks will do the rest for you. So when that is done, when you have finally filled everything, if this is the account you're making a payment from, you can as well go ahead and do that. But in like petty transactions like this, what we usually do, we have a petty cash account, right? You can create a petty cash account where all these small amount of transaction can come from. But in this case, let's just leave it the way it is, right? And then click save and new or save and close. So I'll just click and save and new, so that I'll record another one. Now I want to make payment for, I want to pay another vendor. I want to pay, not necessarily vendor, I want to pay for repairs again, or let's say I want to pay for office supplies, right? I want to pay for office supplies. So what I'll do is I'll come under the account here, I'll click on office supply. Now come here, I'll select office supply. Now maybe this supply is for supply of maybe it's a supply of A4 paper for the office, right? Or printing ink. Sorry, printing ink. So I will just say, okay, this one is let's say this is 50,000, right? This is 50,000. The description, oh boy, this is 50. Then the description is going to be for, let's say, printer ink. That's just it. Then I don't actually need to select the pay to the order of this person. I don't need to select, and it's not compulsory. It is not compulsory. I can do that. So after I'm done, select the date, and I'm sure that this is where I want to post the transaction. I can go ahead and click on save. Now this print later, I don't want to be receiving memo to print this thing later, so I can just go ahead and check this. Right, if I uncheck it, I will go ahead and save. This time around, I want to do save and close. Right, I want to do save and close. So I have saved it and I have closed it. So that is how to record an immediate cash transaction. So when you look at your bill here, you will not see any of those transactions here. We don't have any of those transactions because they are not billed, they have been paid for. We paid for them immediately. Now these are the ones we have paid for. These are the bills that we have already paid. Right, you can see them. These are the ones we have paid. So if you filter, you see that this is the unpaid bills, while if you filter like this, you see these are the paid bill, and you can see the status paid. Right, that is just that on that. So when, okay, what is this? Okay, no problem. Alright, this is just for this thing we entered earlier on. Right, so let's go ahead. It's not a problem. It's just a narration that people generate. This is the narration I saw and I opened it. So it's just narration people generated for this payment. Right, it's not a problem. So let's go ahead, but it's always advisable you put your own narration or your own memo in every of your transaction. So we have seen how to record immediate cash transaction. I say when you're recording immediate cash transaction, you have to use your write check, right? You have to use your write check to record your immediate cash transaction. Now, you know, we have, when we are in an organization, we have a way of transferring money from one account to the other. Now, when I was teaching in this section, actually, I made mention of something called petty cash. Now, what happened? These are account that we make little expenses from. It is always an account, is a cash account that does not lack money, so that you will not always so that you will not always call your boss or you call your director or your manager for money. If you are a cashier, all you need to do is that if there is a threshold that is said that, okay, this is the amount of transaction you can be able to expense, you can be able to approve without actually coming to the manager or the director of the company for any reason. So you can just select, they may say, okay, any transaction between the ranges of 5,000 to 20,000 naira, you can actually approve such transaction and do it without coming to the management. This is to ease bureaucratic processes, right? Now we have that in this case. Now, because these accounts are not maintained separately from the organization, we call them petty cash. And when money is transferring from one account to another, we need to know the movement, we need to track the movement. So that is where we have another option. We have what is called transfer fund. We have what is called transfer fund. That's you're transferring money from one account to another. Of course, you can choose to go and say you want to do it via journal, but I will always tell you that all these things you are thinking of using journal to do are actually things that QuickBooks has already made it available and made it simple for you to actually apply without actually wasting much time, right? So it's just click here and click there and those transactions will be posted. Now before we do that, all right, before we do that, let's go ahead and create another account. So we'll go to our chart of account, right? You can right click or you do Control Z, right click or you do Control N to open a new account. So this time around it's a new account and I'm going to put it under banking, right? It's going to be under banking and I'm going to call it petty cash account, petty cash account, right? Petty cash account, right? So this is our petty cash account and I'll put it under our bank. I'll put it under our bank, right? So this is where we are going to be making all those petty cash transactions. So after I'm done, I will just save and close. If I have any opening balance for this, I can do that, but no, I will not. I will just save and close right now. So when I save and close, because it's a bank, you always find this option. You can just go ahead and say no, or you can just click here and close it. So you can see that the petty cash account has been added under our bank here. Now, this petty cash is not necessarily going to be a cash account like money you hold at hand, but it can be a bank account. It can actually be a bank account. So in this case, let's say the bank that is holding this account for us, let's say this is FCMB, First City Monument Bank. So this is the account that we are using for the bank we are using for our petty cash transaction. So that is just it. So I'm just trying to give you a realistic a real life scenario on how these activities are organized, and that was why I said from the beginning of this class that I don't want to use the pre-formatted template to teach you anymore. I want to just, from what I know, from my experience, I just want to be pouring everything out for you, and that is exactly what I'm doing. So if you have watched the previous sections and previous classes, you understand that there's a very big difference between what I am doing now and what I have done in those classes, right? This is just because I want to make sure that I pour out everything as I promise you that I'm going to give you my best in this teaching, and that's exactly what I'm doing. This is due to my experience in the field, and I am doing that to help you as well. Now when we look at it, we see that the balance is 0, right? And we want to know, how do we now fund this account? Of course, because these are bank accounts, so we can fund from any bank account, but we want to make sure that we track the movement of this fund. So let's say now let's say for instance we want to transfer fund to, actually it's not for instance, we want to transfer fund into this place. So what we are going to do is to come to our banking section here, then go ahead and say transfer fund, right? Go ahead and say transfer fund. Let's say we want the date of transfer, we are going to leave it with today's date. Then the transfer fund from, where are you transferring the fund from? So we are going to say we are transferring, because this is cash, petty cash that is selected. You can see that the petty cash balance is actually empty. But when we select any other account, let's say we want to select Zenith, we want to transfer the money from Zenith to our petty cash, right? So now which account are we funding? Which account are we receiving the money in? So So we are receiving the money in our petty cash account. Remember that the account, all the accounts are actually owned by the organization. It's not the staff's account, but it is managed by the staff. So, and the money that passes from here to this place is for the, let's say, daily routine or daily petty transactions, repairs, maintenance, and all of those things. That is where we make the payment from. Now, we have selected the Zenith Bank, which is where the money is coming from, and the petty cash, which is where the money is going to. So the next thing is, how much do we actually want to transfer? Let's say we want to transfer 250,000. We want to transfer 250,000. So we can put it petty cash. We can just say transfer fund, or just give any narration of our choice. So once that is done, you can just click on save and new or save and close. Either one is your choice. Now let's say save and new. Now we have transferred 250,000. You can see that our account now has 250,000 naira in it. Now let's say we want to transfer from another account. Want to transfer from this account to the same petty cash account again. This time around we're going to do, let's say we're going to do 100. Now this is not, you have to understand that this is not an expense. You're not paying this money to anybody. It's still the organization's account, but one is just used to maintain the daily activities of the organization. That is why it is called petty cash account, right? So we can see we are going to transfer this 100,000 naira in it, right? And when we do that, this time around we're going to say save and close. Now if you look at it, all our accounts have balances. Now this has 350. This has 1 million as well. This is this one reduced, and this one as well reduced. So you can see that all these accounts now have balances. So that is how to transfer money from one account to another. And of course you can use journal. How do we use journal again? Come to your accountant, come to make general journal entries. So when you come to your accountant, so which account is actually receiving? Now the account that is receiving is going to be debited, while the account that is giving is going to be credited. So when you do that, you can see, if you do let's say we are doing 20,000 naira this time around. I want to give you all the scenarios so that you know what you are dealing with. So this one is 20,000, and this place too is going to be 20,000. So you can just give your narration petty cash. This time around you don't need to put any name here. You don't need to tie it to anybody, because this is also transferring from one account to another. So when I save this and I go back to my account, and I go back to my chart of account or account, I will see that these have actually from 350 to how much? From 350 to 370. So if I open it, I will see all the transaction. You can see this one is coming from transfer fund, while this one is coming from our general journal. So you can see that it is still going to give me the same thing, in as much as I know what I am doing. But what is the essence of using journal again if I can just do it using the transfer fund, right? You can see that is just that. So in the next section we are going to look at now in the next section we are going to look at the customer section, which is nothing much, because most of the things we have discussed in details are under the vendor section, and we have done justice to that part. Now when we come back in the next section, we're going to look at how to deal with the customer. So on that note, we are done with the vendor, except for the managed sales task here, which we are going to come back to later, right? We have done justice to the vendor. So thank you very much, and see you in the next section.